In this video, I want to briefly go over the air-to-air exchanger, some of the components inside of it, and the maintenance that you actually have to do to it, because most people that have this thing usually don't even realize that it even has filters and that you have to clean it. So, this box right here is the air-to-air exchanger. Unfortunately, this is a little bit of a tight space, so I can't show you the whole entire picture. But basically, it's a box mounted to the ceiling on some chains, and there's two pipes that go in on the left and on the right. That's the returns and the exhausts. The way this thing works is it takes fresh air from outside, brings it inside the house, and it takes the old stale air from inside the house and dumps it back out. And the reason they did this is because the newer homes, I think past the 2000s, they started making them really tight. They're better insulated, they have better windows, better doors. The houses became really tight and they don't allow a lot of air to flow in. And what happens when you do that is, with time, the house begins to smell. It becomes stale, or it has like a musty, stale smell. To combat that problem, they started putting in these units to fix it. So the air-to-air exchanger, the box, usually has clips on it, on the bottom. These two clips, you can just unclip them, and the door should come right off. If you haven't opened your door in a long time, it'll be really stuck on there. I suggest just starting from one corner and just kind of wiggle it back and forth and work on it to get the whole door opened up. The whole door should open, and I have a light hanging right here that's preventing me from opening it up all the way. But most of these air-to-air exchangers, if you just slide them to the left, the door, it should just come right off. Like that. And I had this door off previously, so it came off easy. But once again, just like the door, if you haven't taken it off for a long time, you may have to push on it a little bit harder to get it off. So let's set this aside. So here's the air-to-air exchanger on the inside. Here's the power cord. Usually it's plugged in either into the ceiling, or like this one right here is just plugged into an outlet right over here. You don't have to unplug it because there's really no bare electrical components. One thing that I like to do if I'm doing like a furnace maintenance or an AC maintenance is to open this thing up and stick my hand into the fan. Make sure that it's not running, of course. The fan is right here. There's two blades, circular blades. There's one right here and one right here, the squirrel cages. You put your hand in there and just try to spin that fan. It should spin nice and easy. If it doesn't spin nice and easy, if it's really tight and crunchy, then that fan motor is bad and this whole assembly needs to be replaced, which is about $800, so that's usually not a good day. The filters. This thing has 3 filters that need to be cleaned. There's 2 right here, one on either side. These guys, you can just wash them. They're washable. You wash them and you just let them dry before you put them back in. They just slide in and out in these grooves. So that's the one on this side. There's one over here, and this one's a lot dirtier. This must be the intake. Look at that. I'll show this to the homeowner later. This needs to be cleaned. Well, actually, generally, I would just clean it myself. But for now, I'll just put this back in. So you got the 2 filters, and you also have this diamond-shaped core, which is basically a big plastic piece with a bunch of little channels inside of it. This thing actually does need to be washed as well. A lot of people don't know this. It has slides right here on all the corners, and you can actually slide this whole entire thing out like that. I won't take it out, but it does slide. Well, why not? Ah, the duct is in the way. But anyways, just take my word for it. This comes out. But this core, it is washable, and the way you wash it, there's actually instructions right on it, how to wash it. But the way you wash it is basically you put it into some kind of bin, like a laundry tub is great, or you can put it into a bathtub, fill it up with warm water. Now, when I say warm water, I actually mean warm water. You can't use hot water on this because it is plastic. If you put this thing into hot water, it will warp and it'll wreck the thing. So only warm water should be used. So warm soapy water, you leave it in there for about 3 hours, let it soak, and then you just rinse it off and that thing should be clean. And then you slide it back in after it dries out, put the door back on, and it's good to go. Also, just like a furnace door switch, this air-to-air exchanger also has a little door switch on the side in the corner. Once you take the door off, it powers off everything and the dampers open up. There's dampers on either side of the unit. So there's that switch right there. So that's it. That's the insides of the air-to-air exchanger. And before I wrap this video up, I also want to show you the outside vent hoods where the exhaust and the intake is, because a lot of people don't know this, but those can get plugged up as well. And on our way outside, we briefly stopped at the control from the air-to-air exchanger. This Venmar control right here. Typically they're going to be right next to the thermostat, but not always. Oh, and maybe some of you don't know this, but a blinking snowflake. There's our blinking snowflake. That means that the thermostat is in a time delay. If you turn the power on and off, and I did have the air conditioner off outside, I had it off at the furnace switch, the power switch, so it's not running and interrupting me while I was filming the video. I turned the power back on when I was going upstairs, and the snowflake is blinking now. Whenever the power is interrupted, the thermostat, if you have a digital thermostat, a lot of them will go into a 5-minute time delay, which is signified by this blinking snowflake. Whenever it turns solid and stays on, that means the air conditioner turned on, or at least it should turn on. Anyways, away from the distraction, here's our control for the air-to-air exchanger. They're pretty simple. It just has 3 controls. You have the off, the minimum, and the max for the maximum. So for the summer, you want this just completely off, or you can just unplug it at the plug downstairs. And for the winter, you can either have it on minimum or maximum, depending on how the air in your house is, or if you're cooking a turkey or something. And then this control right here, that just controls how often the thing turns on. And right here, it says summer. Here it says comfort zone. This is kind of the medium range, and this is winter, if it's super cold. And it gives you a little cheat sheet on the side. So if it's -4 outside, you pretty much want this thing to be over here. If it's 23 degrees outside, you want it here. If it's 41, over here, and etc., etc. If it's 90 degrees outside and for some reason you want to run this thing, then you would have it way up here. If it's -30, then you would have it way down here. And a quick jump cut later, we are now outside, and usually if you just walk around your house, you should be able to find the exhaust and the intake from your air-to-air exchanger. And usually they will be separate. There's going to be exhaust and an intake. They're going to be 2 separate little hoods, metal hoods. This one right here is together. I'm assuming that there's going to be just 2 intakes behind here. And this is going to be really hard to see on camera, but there's a little screen, a wire screen behind here. Those 2 screens get really dirty. Whichever one of them is the intake, the one that's sucking air in, they will get really dirty, and once that gets completely covered, that's what burns out that motor that I was showing you previously. To clean that, all you have to do is just take a brush or even your hand and just clean that wire screen real good. Now, before you stick your hand in there, I would recommend getting down there and looking at it, because sometimes wasps, they like to make little nests up on top. So if you stick your hand in there and there's a wasp nest, then you're gonna have a really exciting day. And I was right, that one was the intake. We found the exhaust right there. So I continued to walk around the house, and on the next side of the house, we have the exhaust over there. And usually, if you're not sure which one it is, just turn the unit on. And of course, the one that's blowing out, that's gonna be the exhaust. And the one that's typically more dirty and clogged with dust and leaves and whatever else, that will be the intake. Well guys, and that's all I had to share about the air-to-air exchanger. I hope you found this video useful. I was a little bit rushed, and that's because my battery is really dying. Actually right now I think it's at 1%, so hopefully it'll last. I hope you found this video useful. You got some good information about the air-to-air exchanger. If there's other things that I did not cover, please do let us know in the comments below. If you have any other further tips or suggestions, that would be much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to mash that like button on the way out, and I'll see you next time.